Hello and welcome to our training video today. Today we're going to talk discipline because I've had a fantastic message from Robbo and I'm going to share my advice that I gave him because I feel like this is so critical for all Betfair traders. So hopefully you enjoy this one. So let's get straight into it. The question from Robbo is this: have you any tips or tricks to help maintain discipline and not tilt and chase with silly bets or trades? Now, this is a great question. There's so many people struggle with discipline. So many people, they lose a bet or a trade and they go on tilt. You might, let's say from the weekend, Crystal Palace playing Man United. Now, I know a few people had a second half goal in that game. I went in late on myself. There was no goal. I'm not sure how. Watch the game, go and see the chances, you will be surprised. But one thing that happens when you get a match like that or a result like that is it can annoy you, it can put you on tilt. Especially if you're watching it and you think, hey, this should have had a goal. Oh, but it hasn't. That makes you then go, oh, and I think it's almost a human natural reaction to go, right, I want to get back in the fight here. Okay, I'm going to bet on the next thing I see, or I'm going to try and make my money back. No, that's not how you should do it, okay? So I'm going to give 5 pieces of advice on how to avoid that mistake, because that mistake costs people. It costs people a lot of money. It can cost you your bankroll. And I've seen a lot of good traders go by the wayside because they couldn't learn to be disciplined in their trading when something went wrong. And I think that's the key here. When something goes wrong, we need to know how to handle it. Okay, so I've got 5 things. We're going to start with number 1. Stick to a plan religiously. Okay, stick to a plan religiously. Why do I say this? If you have a plan in place, you will not tilt. You will not go and go, oh, I'm going to put double my money on the next trade now. No, you already have your plan. You have your staking. You have your selections for that day. Stick to it. Don't go off script. Don't decide, well, yeah, but something went wrong that shouldn't have. I should have won that bet. Betfair owes me that money because at the end of the day, it should have won. Palace should have scored when they had that clear-cut opportunity. I mean, you can tell I'm not bitter about it at all, right? I'm a little bit bitter. They should have scored. But it's how you use those emotions. And one thing I do is I have a trading plan. I decide what I'm going to trade. I decide what matches I'm going to watch. And then I trade within those spaces. I don't raise my stakes if I lose a trade. This is a big mistake you can make and you compound your losses. So what people do is they go, well, I lost. Let's say you bet £10 on a second half goal and it didn't come in. And then you go, oh, I'm £10 down now. I'd have been better off if I stayed asleep all day. So you go, well, I'm going to make that £10 back. So I'm going to bet £20 on the next one. And then that loses. Then you go, oh, 40 on the next. Before you know it, you've blown a lot of money. So the reality is, stick to your plan, and that will help you. Now, I've also got some steps if you can't do that, so we'll get into those as well. Number 2, never raise your stakes after a loss. Now, I know we've talked about this a little bit already, so I'm not going to labour this one. Don't raise your stakes just because you've had a loss. This isn't a martingale system. By the way, martingale doesn't work. You will lose your money. And if you don't know what martingale is, it's an old strategy where it used to be a case of, well, if you lose a tenner, just double your money and try and win it back. And then if you lose that, double that money. And keep going. I don't know where it ends, because usually it ends in your bankroll will go. Because you will be amazed how often you can go on runs, even at odds on, of losing 5, 6, 7 in a row. And if you're raising stakes every single time that happens, it's virtually impossible to withstand that. You'd have to have a huge bankroll. So yeah, just don't do it. Just don't raise your stakes. Okay, number 3, turn your devices off. If you're struggling with this and you think you're going to make a mistake, you think you're going to chase your losses, just turn your devices off. Anything you can bet on. So if it's a computer, if it's a mobile phone, not always the easiest thing to do, but hey, it might feel a bit refreshing to turn your mobile phone off. I enjoy doing it from time to time just to get away from everything. And if you're struggling with that, take away the outlet, because your outlet to place a bet is going to be your computer, your phone. Yeah, you can't use Betfair on the high street, right? Now you can go into bookies, and I don't advise doing that either. But the point is, if you shut off those devices, you shut off the opportunities you have. So just turn it off if you're having a tough time with a loss. Okay, number 4. Really good one, this. Go for a long walk, okay? Clear your head. this is something I do. So this is a very personal one for me, but I will go for a long walk. And often when I go on those walks, I'm quickly reminded of how insignificant one bet really is and how significant the world out there actually is. And once you realize what a small part of it that bet is, even your own world, and you realize, well, I know what's more important than the bet, my friends, my family, everything, then actually it does help massively, and it certainly helps me. So number 4, I say just go for a walk. Number 5, do not, and this is probably the most important thing, okay? If you don't want to take my advice, if you don't want to do any other things, whatever, find what works for you. But this is ultimately what I want you to do. Do not go back to Betfair until your head feels right, even if it takes a few days. So don't just switch Betfair on the next day if you're still angry about that bet or trade. Take a day off, take a few days off. Look, if you need to clear your head, if you need to get it right, do. The damage you can do because your head is not in the right place if you're betting is not worth just missing a few days of betting, okay? Seriously, there is nothing wrong with missing a few days. You will be absolutely fine. If you bet or trade when your head is gone, you will not be absolutely fine. And it will catch up with you. Because you might go to me, yeah, but Martin, I did that. And I made, I bet on the next game. And I bet double my money and I won my money back. So it does work. Okay. It won't eventually. And you will get into the habit that is your answer to it. That is your answer to a bad day, is to go, yeah, I'm going to go online. I'm going to do this. I'm going to double my money. What happens on that day where it happens 8, 9 times in a row? And you lose hundreds of pounds and you lose your bankroll. What happens on that day? How are you going to feel? Because you couldn't maintain discipline. Do not go back to Betfair until your head is in the right place, because it won't work for you and you will end up losing money. All right, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Like I say, I just want you guys to get your heads in the right space. So let's go through the 5 things one more time. Take a note if you want. Just pause the video. Number 1, stick to a plan religiously. Number 2, never raise stakes after a loss. Number 3, turn your devices off, smartphone, PC, anything that can connect with Betfair. Number 4, go for a walk, clear your head, or if you can't walk, just find something to do where you're getting away. Maybe read a book, do something different. Number 5, do not go back to Betfair until your head is right, and that is the most important one, and that is the one I will leave you with today. Have a great week, everyone. Most importantly, I hope you make some money trading on Betfair, but actually even more importantly, I hope you keep your discipline if things don't go well.